Hey people, it's been a minute. Exactly 1 year, pretty much, since I posted the "Life is Not My Roderick" video. Yeah, a lot's changed. Crazy year so far. Thank you. I'm gonna start off. Thank you for all the support from that video and everyone that's subscribed and sent messages, posted in the comments about how much they feel bad for me or how much they, support me. Thank you. Feels good. Didn't know there was that many people that cared. Also, there's still some people saying, not my Roger, I can still be mad about it. Hey, whatever. It is what it is. However, a lot's changed. A lot's changed in a year. I cut my hair for the first time in probably 20 years. Starting to get back into acting, which is a good thing. Working in fashion a lot, doing my own thing. And I promise I'm coming back to YouTube. I'm trying to get back into the swing of things. I'm trying to post more regularly. And I've been thinking about what exactly I want to do with this channel and maybe want to do with the other channel, which I've changed entirely now. That's to be seen. Hopefully soon I'll be posting there. And that one, if you've seen any of my content before, I do a segment called Charlie Wright Tonight or Goon News. It's been changing all the time, but that one will be dedicated for that. And then this one hopefully will kind of be the behind the scenes of my life and maybe just, little chats like this where I'm honest and not performing, and we'll see how that goes. Anyways, the point of this video, let's say, is a Q&A because I posted about it a couple months ago, which, I was having some technical difficulties. But anyways, I posted, you guys asked some questions, so let's get into it. Starting off, Jackson Zavala, 2005, says, what are your goals in the future moving forward? It's crazy. I have so many goals that it's almost hard. I need to cut down on what I want to do with my life. Simply put, I think starting off, I'd like to do something with YouTube more. I'd like to have an online presence of a magazine and maybe a show or some kind of online digital thing that I do consistently, which is kind of my fault for not doing it. But other than that, I'd have a website that I'd like to turn into a magazine that can highlight, upcoming creatives and young people in fashion and music and entertainment and give people a platform, really, because I think that it's nice to have basically a platform and also the power to help others break out. It's becoming very hard nowadays for young creatives to basically make it, where it's their life is their art and that they can live off of it and they can have a successful career off of it. And nowadays we just see, a lot of just nepotism and a lot of people that, kind of are industry plants, you could say, but I've seen so many creative people kind of give up because they have to support themselves in other ways and they can't continue. And I'd like to give people a chance to, be seen in a way. Because I know that sometimes I can change people's lives. You never know. Other than that, I'd like to have a bar, my own bar one day. I don't know what the timeline on that is, but who knows. I'd like to throw events with this magazine idea. I'd like to get more social stuff going on, because I'm an introvert and I find it hard to be extroverted. I find it hard to reach out to people and to be social, but I'm trying to get out of my comfort zone and do that and maybe have events where other people can come and, party, basically. Still working in fashion, still doing that. Hopefully get back into acting, maybe make movies again. That'd be great. I love that. I'd like to make my own movies one day, And yeah, who knows? There's so many other things that I probably won't mention because they're just little blips in my mind that come to me. Sam Wansbone 2790 says, "What countries have you been to, and what countries would you like to visit?" So I've been to Thailand, I've been to Japan, been to France, obviously, Peru, Ukraine, Mexico. I think that's it, really. I'd like to visit a lot of countries, actually. I'd like to visit Turkey. Love to go to Istanbul. Never been to Italy. Never been to Spain. Never been to England. I'd like to go to Argentina and Brazil. Shout out Brazil. What else? Maybe even China. Honestly, I've been having a vibe of like these. I get maybe all those Chinese cities that are like super modern and stuff, and I'm like, damn, maybe I kind of want to go to China now. What else? Yeah, Greece. There's all kinds of places I want to go to. Some places I don't even know yet. Mantis the Hedgehog. What is the most important thing you learned throughout your acting career? To trust your instinct, I think. A lot of, at least how I act, is I kind of get a feeling or an emotion of how it should be. And if it's honest and truthful, I tend to trust that more than my own brain of how it should be. I kind of let the dialogue and the writing do the heavy lifting and the work for me, and I just let it. I'm just a vessel for it to like come out. But that's if you have a good script. If you don't, I think you kind of have to get some kind of energy inside of you and bring it up. And usually it's like that thing. It's like your gut instinct. I always trust it. And beyond acting too, I think trusting your instinct is huge, because it's usually right. Sometimes I chose not to trust it, and I ended up being wrong. So learn from that. Bryant Nunley 29 says, "If you could have got a role from a movie you didn't get, what would it be?" I always say I remember really wanting 2 or 3 roles. Well, in reality, there's like a handful of roles I auditioned for that, looking back on it, would have probably been life-changing. One of them was Stranger Things. The role that Charlie Heaton got. I can't remember the name, but that one. There was Jughead in Riverdale. Probably would have been life-changing. And Elle in Death Note would have just been personally something that I would have really liked to have done. And other than that, I don't know. There was a role in Star Wars, but I just wanted to be in a Star Wars thing. Those 3 are the ones that really come into my... Oh, and Hereditary, but I don't think I would have been good in it. It's a great movie. Yeah, I think those 4 or 5. Marshmallow 3 says, favorite and least favorite part of having a platform. Okay, well, favorite part of having a platform is that it's fun to interact with all these people. A lot of you guys are funny. You send me stuff or you comment things that are actually hilarious. And you guys have, great stories. And it's nice to know that my life or what I do, my work, inspires you guys and, entertains you. And that's all that really matters at the end of the day, is that, I can help in some way, I guess. What was that? Okay, we're back. Least favorite part of having a platform, I think that was the question, is the feeling of having to perform all the time and the feeling of having to post when I don't think that there's anything to post, or just nothing's coming to me and I get like super, anxious and depressed and beat myself up over it, when in reality I should just not worry about it, and that the best content comes from me just wanting to do it. But the more I kind of pressure myself into doing it, the less natural and authentic it feels. And I think that's a kind of a betrayal to you guys, to the audience, is the performance of things, I don't know if that makes sense. Yeah. And also just sometimes, people are just horrible people. when you post stuff and you're trying to be authentically yourself and people just try and destroy you. But I guess that's, a part of life. XCYBXR says, do you feel like you have hit the peak of your career, or do you see more for yourself coming? I think like a year ago, if you asked me this, I probably would have said, yeah, I peaked. And I was comfortable knowing that I had peaked and that I could, move on with my life and do something else. But surprisingly, over the past year and looking forward, I think there might be a comeback. I don't know. At least I'd like to have a comeback, and I'm actively working at doing something else. But, that remains to be seen. However, I do see more for myself coming. Whatever that might be, I don't know. But I think that there's hope, and you have to have hope, or else, what's the point? Meko-san says, do you ever plan on making gaming videos? I don't know. Maybe I always thought I wanted to live stream playing games, but I realized I only play 2 games at a time, or really 1. I played World of Warcraft for the better half of my life, and that's kind of the only game that I really enjoy playing or feel like I want to play. Although I've been playing, some other games here and there. However, when I thought about live streaming, I don't have a dedicated setup. I don't have the space. I don't have, a computer for it. I play on my laptop and I like 1 game. I'd like to do it at some point, maybe when I have the space and when I get the actual, technology for it. Do I want to make videos about it? I don't know. Maybe I'll just live stream it and interact. I think that'd be a cool thing to do to wind down after a day and just hang out and play video games. But we'll see. No promises. Stoic Mouse says, do you like anime? I do like anime, although I don't think I've kept up with modern anime that much. I think I like a lot of classic anime. I like Space Adventure Cobra. I think it's one of my favorites. And Cowboy Bebop and Samurai Champloo and I don't know, those styles. And I've watched some anime here and there. Evangelion I liked a lot. But yeah, the modern stuff, I think the last thing I watched was One Punch Man, maybe. And I really enjoyed it, but I can't name something recent. I haven't kept up, unfortunately. I do like anime though, but I haven't kept up. How come you randomly started uploading on YouTube? As you're James 10. I don't know. I just felt like I needed a creative outlet after acting, and I had been writing, and I just felt like performing a character on YouTube. And, I think it helped me get more comfortable with myself and get out of my comfort zone and to kind of regain my confidence in some way. It wasn't I didn't think of that beforehand, but after having done it and looking back on it, I realized that really served a purpose, and it eventually, got me to where I am now, and it also helped so many other things. So I don't know, maybe it was just some weird, epiphany or divine intervention that made me start doing it. But yeah, I like doing it, and I'm probably gonna keep doing it. XXI Tactical 8723 says, do you still get recognized for the long haul when you're in the US? Now that I've cut my hair less, but yeah, still actually. And then last year, obviously when I had posted the Not My Roderick video and it had kind of blown up and other videos had blown up after that, yeah, I was getting recognized a decent amount. More than I had in a while, actually. And occasionally now and then, I think when people have more time to look at me and realize it, and I think that a lot of people that I've met recognize me but don't remember why or from what until it comes up. But yeah, I do still get recognized. Corey03 says, does theater interest you in any capacity, be it as an actor or as a potential playwright? I was never big on theater when I was in acting in high school. I didn't want to really partake in like the musicals or the theater space. I wasn't big on it. And I didn't really care for it that much when I was acting, and nor did I really get any auditions for it or offers. However, recently, I think for the first time ever, I did get an audition for a play in New York, but I wasn't there, so I wasn't able to do it. But I think now it might interest me a little more. I don't know. Maybe I will try it someday and see if I like it. I just don't know how to get into that. If I need a separate representation for that, or if I can just somehow weasel my way into it. But maybe if I spend more time in New York, maybe it will happen. I don't know. Semilo Redabayo says 9591 says best movie of 2024. Oh, that's a good question, actually. I saw Nosferatu at the end of 2024, and that was rather good. However, I have to come back to that one. Anyways, let's say Nosferatu for now. I think that was a really special movie in terms visually, performance-wise. I was impressed, and it had a cool vibe. I liked it. I don't know if it was my favorite. I think there was another movie I watched that year that was really great and blew me away. It's probably on my Letterboxd somewhere. Marco Tika says, have you had any thoughts about acting in films produced in France, Europe, or Japan, Asia? Yes, I have. I think I've auditioned for something in France. The hard part is that my French isn't probably the best for acting. And I haven't gotten that many auditions for it. However, I would like to make movies in Europe, because I think that it's a great kind of location and there's great storytelling things, and it's kind of been underutilized in Hollywood recently. And Japan and Asia too. I did a show in Thailand once, but that was a disaster. Absolute disaster. Maybe I'll tell. I don't think I've ever told that story. Maybe I will tell that story at some point. But yeah, it was a total disaster. But I love Thailand. It was great. And the show never came out. So, but yeah, maybe one day. It's Billy Tripp says, if you had an opportunity to star in a future film that has not yet been implemented into adaptation, what movie concept would you find a fitting role for and why? Wow. Because all the ones I can think of have been. I think, now maybe I'm a little too old. But when I was acting, I remember hearing about a possible Akira movie being made by Leonardo DiCaprio's production company or something. And this has been, decades of this movie trying to get made. But I remember thinking, oh, I would love to play like Kaneda in that adaptation, which I don't even know if that will ever happen. But other than that, before that, I was like, oh, I dreamt of being Spike in Cowboy Bebop. But that happened. And then, I also would really like being in a Dungeons and Dragons movie or show. And then that happened. So, yeah. I mean, I'd still like to be. If they end up remaking or making more of these films, I'd still like to be a part of that. E.R. Hunt says, if you could work with any renowned director in the industry, who would you want to work with? Tarantino probably would be an interesting time or project, definitely. I don't know if he's going to make more movies beyond, I guess, the 9th one. I don't know. I think that Terrence Malick would be interesting, but these are directors that don't really make movies constantly. Terrence Malick, I really like. Maybe a Scorsese? I don't know. They're kind of... Spielberg would be great too, but I've auditioned for, I think, at least 1 or 2 Spielberg movies. But yeah, I'm going to say Tarantino or Terrence Malick. Yeah. QXY says, what do you do whenever you meet a stressful or uncomfortable situation? I I try to like calm down, breathe, wait, relax, see what's happening. Because, I'm a type of person where if something I am very like feeling oriented, where if I get a bad feeling or if something is like starting to brew that I don't like, I instantly want to run away or like disappear or hide or whatever it is. So I tend to like try and keep calm and not show that I'm panicking or freaking out, which usually involves just like not talking, waiting, relaxing, like sussing out the situation and then deciding what the best option is. Yeah, because otherwise it's just like you could panic, make a mistake, leads to another mistake, this, that. So, and if it's something that's like not life threatening, that's not like serious, I usually give it a day, relax, think about it, and then I come to the conclusion that like most of the time, if it's not life threatening, if someone's not dying or if you're not in the situation where it's like your life is on the line, it's not that big of a deal, really. Like it can take a day, it can take a couple of hours, it can take whatever, like take your time, it's just a situation. It's just whatever it is. It's not that serious, usually. Lethality ZX says, what type of fashion trends do you dislike, and what type of fashion do you wear on a day-to-day basis outside of modeling? Most of the time, I dress for the weather or comfortability. Like when I was in New York and it's freezing, I tend to wear any piece of clothing I have that will keep me warm. I don't really try and think too much about my outfits. I'm a absolute grade A outfit repeater. I will wear the same thing for like a week straight, which is kind of nasty, but hey, I love, like, I'm the type of person where I'll like fixate on a piece of clothing, I'll buy it, and if I really like it, I'll put it on like immediately, and I'll just wear it for months. Obviously not not in the way you think, but I'll be like obsessed with pieces of clothing, and then sometimes it'll stay, and sometimes I'll just like forget about it and sell it, or give it to someone. And then what type of fashion trends do I dislike? I don't know. I think that like a lot of times people have been dogging on fashion trends and like saying that this trend's good, this trend's bad, or washed or cooked, or like if you're a trend hopper, you don't respect fashion. And yes, there's some truth in that a lot of fashion trends are like created to get people to consume. It's like a business model is a trend. However, I believe that everyone got into fashion through a trend. I myself got into fashion back when like Odd Future was making clothes, and like I had bought fake Pyrex shorts and a Pyrex shirt off some random website. And I was like really getting into fashion when I visited Japan, and I was just really into like this kind of, I guess, hypebeast thing. I had like the saggy joggers, and I had the the long cut droop back shirts, and I wore a chain link. I wore a Cuban chain link necklace at some point. I don't know what that was. That was a dark time. But anyways, I think people get into fashion through trends. I don't hate trends. I think it's just a part of life, a part of being human. I mean, there's trends in everything. There's trends in finance. There's trends in, culture. There's trends in music. There's trends in everything. So it's like trends are a huge part of fashion. They won't go away. Some are better than others. And I don't think I really have one that I like, and I don't really think I have one that I dislike. So that's all I gotta say. Any book, movie, rec that you watched recently? What conspiracy theories do you believe? Conspiracy theories have kind of gone into a place where they're not fun anymore. Because back in the day, it was like aliens and all these government conspiracies that were true, that ended up being true. Yes, they were hiding aliens at Area 51. Yes, the FBI and the CIA or whatever did release the crack epidemic and AIDS or whatever. So it's kind of like, oh, those were rooted in truth because it was usually a whistleblower that worked in these government agencies that came out and said, hey, this is what's happening. And at the time, people called it conspiracy because they wanted to, discredit it. And then it ended up being true. But now, I feel like a lot of these conspiracy theories are just, random schizo posts posted on Twitter and online of people trying to get engagement and money and this and that. So it's like, it's kind of gone from a place that was fun or like interesting, like Bigfoot and like the Loch Ness Monster and things like that, to a place that's like, flat Earth and, I don't know. It's gotten beyond like believable and into a place where you're like, okay, I don't know what that's supposed to help me with. Like if all of a sudden aliens existed, I'd be like, wow, that's a big change. And now it's like, if, I don't even know. Anyways, the point is that it's not fun anymore. But I do believe that Bigfoot exists. I feel like there's some creatures, maybe not anymore, but maybe back in the day, there were definitely some creatures from some time of history or whatever that still existed, maybe somewhere, just on their own, and then died off. But who knows? Max Gardner says, who's your favorite artist, producer? I'd say right now in the current music scene, I really like Yves Tumor. And I'm a big fan of Tu Hollis. I like Tu Hollis. I like this whole kind of like electro-pop rap kind of fusion that's going on. It's fun. It's cool. It feels kind of new and fresh. And we'll see where music goes. I'd like for a rock and roll comeback or a punk comeback to hit mainstream, but if it's mainstream, then it's no longer really punk. But you know what I'm saying. I'd like for bands to come back, like really hardcore bands. Yeah, that'd be fun. Kinney M says, any basic advice for people who want to start experimenting with fashion? I always say start with less. Work with smaller, simpler clothes. Things that are kind of easy to pair with other clothes. And it just makes it easier to understand how you feel about clothes, how you like to dress, what you feel comfortable wearing, what fits on your body, what kind of silhouettes you like. And because a lot of the times you may look at a piece of clothing that you think is really cool, and then you buy it and then you end up hating it, or you hate how the way it looks on you, and then you don't wear it and you spend all that money on it. So a lot of the time, start with less. Work your way up into the crazier and crazier things. And my personal advice was always like simpler is better. And that's where I find myself. It's just like, I have a base set of clothes, of like, I wear thermal shirts or tank tops in the summer, and I have like cargo pants and some jeans and like 2 or 3 shoes for whatever occasion, walking, rain shoes, simple things, and then hats, and then go from there, and then have statement pieces or like accessorize or things above that are a little bit more crazy. Because if it's too crazy, sometimes it's a lot to handle, and it's hard to like go from just getting into fashion to being like master fashion or really deep into it. Work your way up. It's totally fine to start at the bottom and start with understanding, how clothing works and what fashions you like, whatever. I think that's my advice. Hopefully that helps. Sung Min Stolen Hot Cheetos. Do you have a certain type of YouTube you watch? Commentary, gaming, comedy skits? What got you into modeling? What brands do you love? Okay. I like watching YouTube, like food YouTube. There's these channels that are like mainly in Asia, like Japan and South Korea. And there's no talking really, or no music. It's just ambient noise of like people working at a restaurant or like food stuff. I think there's one called like Dancing Bacons or something. And it's just like food. It's just like food in Japan and China and South Korea and like East Asia and Southeast Asia kind of stuff. Um, I really like that. It's so simple and it kind of like relaxes me. Another thing is I do watch a lot of World of Warcraft stuff because I'm still like obsessed with World of Warcraft. I don't really have any like podcasts that I watch. I used to watch Tim Dillon, but then I kind of stopped. I never really got into podcasts. I'd like to maybe have one of my own one day, which is kind of like, but I feel like podcasts are very audio oriented, and I'm kind of like a visual guy. I like to have audio and visual. I need stimulation. I need screens. I need things going on. So maybe there's a channel out there that's good. I don't know. Comment your favorite one, and maybe I'll check it out. What got me into modeling? What brands do you love fashion-wise? Okay, so I'm modeling. I have a video of my modeling journey that I posted that kind of details exactly how I got into it. But basically, it was just, a little bit of nepotism. My mother was a model. My father was a model. They knew an agent. I started as a child, didn't really get work. And then all of a sudden, as a teenager, it started working more. And then, it just kept going from there. And what brands do I love fashion-wise? I like ERL and Greg Ross. I'm big on Ludan. I love Fancy Club because I work with them. Shout out Fancy Club. Yeah, things like that. I don't know. I think I need to expand. I like prototypes. I like products. Yeah, I like things that are kind of DIY and like upcycled fashion, but like done well, if that makes sense. Burr Kitty Cat says, if you could establish your own fashion house, what themes, aesthetic styles would it be known for? How has being bilingual helped you in your career? Bilingual, I mean, it's starting to come in handy now that I live in France. Before, it was mainly having dual citizenship that helped, I think, really. And if I could have my own fashion house, what themes? I like punk rock. I like kind of, destroyed and reconstructed things. I like kind of military aesthetics and historical aesthetics and kind of weird like cult religious themes, like medieval stuff, Yeah, I think those are kind of the styles. I like old school things and like kind of fantasy RPG video game kind of ideas. Like I want to dress like a wizard or a bandit or, a pirate or a knight or some stuff like that. I don't know. That kind of stuff I like. What were your motivations for becoming an actor and pursuing that career even while not necessarily always getting the roles you desired? Spiritual Minds 5877. I don't know. I was having fun being an actor. I really enjoyed acting. It was a great way to come out of my shell. I think I was a very shy child and I was introverted and I still am, but it was a great way for me to like embrace who I am and discover my personality and, how I enjoy basically entertaining other people and making them laugh and, making them feel emotions and keeping them like hopeful and excited about the future and about life. Rowan Willis says, do you ever play with your game console like a PS5 or Nintendo Switch in your downtime? No, I don't have one, unfortunately. I used to have an Xbox 360 or an Xbox One, but then I kind of got off consoles. I'm just a computer guy. I'm a computer nerd. Have you ever thought about starting your own gaming channel? No, I think I answered that one earlier, but yeah, no, I'm not going to do gaming, I think. I'll probably stream, but I won't game. And what movies, shows, or video games are you looking forward to in 2025? I'm really looking forward to the next season of Fallout, which I don't know if it's going to be in 2025. But that's probably like my number one anticipated project is Fallout Season 2. Video games, I don't know. If there's a new World of Warcraft Classic Plus, I'm going to be on that. And what is this? Razor says, what's your favorite style to wear at places, parties, cafes, etc.? I don't know. I think I always dress, like I said, comfortably. I like to have pockets when I go out. I like to put things in my pockets. I'm a big pockets guy. So whether it's like a cargo pant or like a blazer with inside pockets and out pockets, I'm a pockets guy. I like to wear my own stuff. I make my own t-shirts, and I'll buy something, I'll destroy it, I'll work with it, and I'll make pants, or I'll make something that I feel is unique to me and something I wanted to have, and I like displaying that. And I think I'm a person that gets obsessed with an idea. Like when I go shopping for clothes, or I want a clothing item, it's usually like an idea comes to me and I have to like hunt it down and find it. And it's like some obscure thing. You don't find it in stores. You'll find it on eBay somewhere, some random guy or I remember I found a shirt one time off like a church website. And then there's like, museums have sometimes old historical stuff, recreation or remakes of these historical items or something. And I'm just like obsessed with it. And it's like that where I'm a hunter. I like to find items, and I get an image where I see it in a movie, or I see it on in a history piece, or a YouTube, or some kind of painting or music video, whatever it is. I find something, I say, whoa, that sticks out to me. I need that. I need to find something like that or exactly that, and then I go looking for it. And that's kind of how I find clothes, and then I like to wear those because it's like a treasure that I found. I'm like a goblin, and I find these treasures, and then I try to like wear them and show them out, and like they're precious to me because I really wanted it and I found it, and then other people I think kind of admire that quality. I don't know, but yeah. Okay. Anyways, this was a way longer video than I expected it to be. Sorry if you had to sit through all of that. I was not really sure what I was doing with this. However, like I said, it's been a crazy year. I want to say thank you to everyone that's been around, stuck around, joined, commented nice things, supported me. Thank you. Hopefully I, wake up and start, getting back to making YouTube content again. Follow the other channel, Pox Worldwide, in the description below. I'll be posting there weekly, bi-weekly, sometime soon, because that will be a channel for a different kind of content. And then this channel will probably be like this, where I just sit and talk and be honest and have thoughtful conversations with you guys about things I'm feeling, about the world, about work, about fashion and entertainment and whatever it is. Just chats. We're chatting. So if you like that, let me know. Comment. Actually, comment down below what you want to see too, because I'm open to ideas and suggestions at this point. So yeah, thank you. And you know what? Hopefully it's a good year, and I'll see you guys soon, and I'll make another one of these next year. We're just recapping. So yeah, thanks for watching. See you next time.